tastes tasty.
Just a question, is this racist?
Well, hello there.
We just got finished watching The Godfather.
Great timing.
What were your favorite scenes? Or one favorite scene?
Okay, my favorite scene, I think, is in the garden. While Marlon Brando is talking to, I believe, his grandson. And it's just a very odd scene. They're sort of spraying DDT, and the grandson's spraying DDT, and he follows him around. It's very, very... It's in a great contrast to the what is going on in the rest of the movie, which is there's a ton of murders going down, and the movie's really starting to heat up at that point, and it's a very odd way to set off somebody who is kill off a character who is essentially a murderer, a villain in the sense of society and things, and he's portrayed as just being a loving grandfather, and it's a very, very unusual scene, but it's very, very convincingly done, and I really like that scene.
My favorite scene would probably be the hospital scene when Michael comes back after his father is shot in the streets. I feel this scene was really, really important because it's basically Michael taking responsibility for the first time in protecting his family. He arrives at the hospital and there's no guards guarding the father, who's obviously got people coming after him to kill him. And Michael takes responsibility in guarding his father and saving him. And it's also the first time he sort of begins to give commands to other people.
My favorite scene was when Michael meets with the police officer that punched him and the Santandino, the drug dealer. I thought that it was a great scene. It kind of shows how he's hesitant to kind of follow the path that his family has been taking, even though he told his girlfriend that he was not going to be a part of it at all. And I thought it was a great turning point in the movie, and this is kind of what sets him into the direction of becoming the future Don. One thing that I thought was pretty interesting and what I talked about in English class this year was about anti-heroes, like heroes that weren't necessarily the typical Superman-esque character. Would you say that the Corleone family,
Is a family of anti-heroes?
I would say the Dons. Do you think that they are heroes, or do you think that they're villains?
Well, as far as the Corleone family goes, I really don't like them on principle of Michael and his father being, frankly, criminals and murderers and things. But I think what this film does very well is portrays them with a sense of class. I can't describe it any other way. Is you see Marlon Brando on screen and you see Al Pacino on screen, and they just ooze this old world sensibility of family values and pride and respect and all these things that are very, very old school but very, very relevant, and they're sort of the ideal men in the sense of being, the complete moral person, and they just happen to have an extremely immoral profession. And it's a very, very interesting sort of dichotomy that is portrayed exceedingly well by Francis Ford Coppola.
Well, I think I disagree in some sense. The scene where Michael talks with his girlfriend and says, my men are no different than any other powerful men, and she says, you're being naive, and then because you kill people, and then he says, who's being naive now? Well, I think that they are doing the right, for a lot of the scenes they are doing the right things. A lot of actions are justified. It's only when it's revenge, it's a bit hazy, but I think that they do have a right to take some action. 'Cause sometimes there's some things that the law cannot do to certain criminals, and that's where they step in when the law can't help. But you can't always control that, so I don't know. I think that I don't know what to think.
I would say that, I don't know, an interesting thing about this film that's probably been talked about a lot, like in every review of this film, is that the sort of obvious evil of this family, like the corruption of everything, is at least tried to be balanced off by the sort of care for family and everything. And I don't know, it's definitely impressive. They do have, I don't know, I felt like this family's the actions taken by these people is somewhat justified.
Yeah.
Not necessarily justified.
There's
but
a reason. There's
I don't
valid
know.
reason.
Yeah, I mean, what Starkov was saying is, I think that there's definitely sort of rules going on. Like,
I
a separate set of rules that these people live by. And
But at the core of it, they're still murderers. Is that what you're
What I'm
trying to
getting
say?
at is their profession, by definition, is immoral in the traditional sense. I mean, I don't want to get into whether or not killing someone is wrong. Generally speaking, killing someone is not a good idea. And the Corleone's whole operation is based on living above and beyond and around the law. And they do things that generally people should not do. And I think that's why the baptism scene is so significant. Is you see him taking these vows. You do reject Satan, yes I do, and then right at that point, they shoot a man in a revolving door, and you see sort of the dichotomy of it is, yes, they belong to this society of family, respect, value, religion, and all of these old world values, but at the same time, they're in many ways, common criminals, but that's just part of being, a Corleone and part of the family, and it's a business that you're born into and that they learn to accept because of all of the the piety that they're passed down from each other.
Yeah,
I
like that.
I don't know. I definitely got a sort of sense of duality. Like, I mean, like, there is definitely the laws of the normal society, and then there's laws that these people live by. And I would say that when it comes to the laws that these people live by, I would say that the Corleones are probably definitely the good guys, maybe?
Yes.
But, I mean,
There's
I don't
two
know.
ways.
It's sort of what that scene sort of said to me was like, I don't know. It's throwing into contrast the laws of society versus the violence of these people. But I mean, it's also sort of throwing into contrast the violence. I mean, the violent laws that these people live by, I guess.
All right. So, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. The Godfather is meticulously crafted. It's a brilliant movie from start to finish. Very well done.
A terrific film. Yeah, I can't really find any fault in it.
The Godfather is a masterpiece. It definitely deserves its number 2 place. I wouldn't complain if it had the number 1 place, but I haven't seen Citizen Kane yet. Thanks.
Thanks for watching.